Welcome to Aristeia 99. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Major Lunah. So let's get to the stats real quick. Major Lunah has initiative of 5, movement of 4, energy of 5, just like you'd expect from a core box character, health of 3. She goes down a little bit easier than you might like. Her defense is a green and a blue, which is excellent and really what you want for a sniper. Her brawl is a yellow. She's not going to be terribly good at keeping someone pinned down, and her disengage is an orange, so she's not bad at getting away. Her character switch is 2 bangs, 2 exclamation points, nullify a shield from your opponent's roll. That's kind of nice. As a result, if you can give her additional focus, perhaps, that'd be a good thing. Extra yellow dice are very appreciated by her. First off, and the main thing she's probably known for is her attack called Shot. That is 3 energy. It gives you a red, an orange, an automatic success, very nice, and a range of 3 to 8. So if a character is adjacent to her or just 1 hex away, she cannot attack them with called shot. In this situation, she would probably want to try and get away, hence the better disengage roll. Or she might actually want to use contender. Probably not. If you can move her or displace her, that's ideal. Get someone in there to help her out. Wonderful. There are cards now that can actually reduce the minimum range for her, but that'd still be a 2 to 8. So probably better, but still not favorable. Now this is going to be very important because she is basically starting life off from mid-range to long range. This gives her quite a lot of options in terms of positioning, because she doesn't have to be directly near anyone, she just needs line of sight most of the time. But still, called shot is a very powerful attack. The fact it can get a critical is amazing, and it's not terribly uncommon given that it's on a red die, it's a 1 in 6 chance. Now, what you can do instead of using additional orange dice, you could potentially use blue dice. That would make it a little bit safer for her to attack from. Or you could actually add in the aforementioned yellow dice, and that should be able to help negate the blocks from her opponent. Now, maybe you don't necessarily need to do that for damage, but for some characters you may want to do that for their switches. Next up is an ability called Suppressive Fire. This is actually the reason I like Major Lunah. Now for 2 energy, basically you can do this twice in a round, provided she doesn't move. It's a green ability, it's not an attack, so your opponent does not get to use defensive dice. At an orange and a yellow, you just need 1 success to impose a -2 movement state to a target. This is also a range 3 to 8, gotta have line of sight, and this is the part of Major Lunah that I've noticed different players not utilizing as much. They think of her as high damage, which she is, but the ability to go out and add that state to someone from a long distance is a lot safer for her to do it than, say, Hexer to do it. On top of that, this has a switch of a shield and a bang, inflict 1 wound to a target. So not necessarily great odds on getting that because it does require a shield and a bang. Getting both might be a little tricky on this. But still, this is actually very good. The nice thing with Major Lunah is she can also take advantage of cover. So if she can get a black die on really either one of these, that does help her out. Now, to note on this, she's got 2 orange abilities. These are her passives. First off, she's got marksmanship. Your target cannot gain the benefits of cover. And generally speaking, you're going to be denying someone a black die. So it is not as terrible a detriment as some people might hope it to be. But still, that's a 50-50 chance of getting a block. So that's pretty good. But where this really kind of kicks in is using Veteran Sniper. Before making a combat roll, you can switch any black die to an orange. So, okay, this is nice. So you get Major Lunah set up like a sniper with cover. She can keep a little bit safer with the black, or, and this is the big thing, she can go ahead and go for more damage. So the two of these actually complement each other nicely, because if you're attacking someone who would normally have cover, they're not going to get it. And now you're going to take your cover and potentially turn it into more damage potential. And of course, oranges do have their own blocks on them as well. But as you know, a black doesn't have any successes on it. So let's look at our tactics card really quick. First off, we're going to look at Spot an Opening. Now this is done before the critical block and switches of a combat roll in which you are the attacker. So what's nice is this can be used by pretty much anybody, but the timing's a little fussy. You can only use it offensively. Choose any number of dice from an opponent's roll. The opponent re-rolls those dice. Now, this is quite nice, obviously, because you can get rid of those potentially get rid of those really annoying criticals. This would be a way to do that. Likewise, if they come up with a result with, say, a double shield, or a double success, or a double exclamation point, anything that might be good for their switches, you can have them redo it. Or if it's just a terribly horrible, awful roll for you, you just redo the whole thing, and it can't come up any worse, I'm sure. It can. But that is an excellent thing to have, and that's good for characters who are attacking, and either the defender rolled a little too well, or the defender rolled something they really needed. So, for instance, if it's, say, Padre Mendoza, and hey, he can do a heal, or you start dealing with things like taunts or displacements, things like that. You want to look at, there's more than one way to use this, whether it's trying to ruin a switch or lessen defenses. So that's good. Or honestly, one thing we Major Lunah too, or really any character, is incoming damage is a possibility as well. So that's good. If you can just re-roll the things you don't want them to have, go for it. Next up is actually a favorite of mine. It's called Holo Sights. Before performing an action, this action has its maximum range increased by 2 until the end of its resolution. Now, obviously any ranged character will like this, but the slightly more horrifying thought is when you give it to, say, a melee character. Now, Musashi would be an obvious candidate for this. He's got a very strong offense, but it's only for the resolution. So if he gets his switch, the switch to redo his attack, do a second attack, he's not going to get the benefit of that for the second attack. Same with Wild Bill. That's a good thing that it's only for the resolution. But still, that's being able to reach out and touch someone with a high-powered character. Obviously, Musashi would be good for this. Valkyrie would be fun with this. Hammerhead would be somewhat scary with this. In addition, you want to consider, too, using this for characters with support abilities, buffs and debuffs. So someone like Hexer, Parvati. I think I'm getting it right, but I don't remember how it's spelled. I'll look it up later. Padre Mendoza, characters like that. So there's a lot of different ways you can use this. Generally speaking, adding 2 to any ability range is simply not going to go amiss. It's just a matter of where do you use it, because unless you have a way to fish that card back out, and there are ways, you're only going to get to do it once. There's a definite opportunity cost there. Next up is a very popular option, at least in my groups. Ricochet. Before performing an attack, occupied spaces do not block your line of sight for this attack. Your target cannot use their successes to inflict wound damage on you. Again, this is obviously a great ability for ranged characters. Notice this is specifically only for attacks, so you cannot use this, say with Hexer, to try and move a friendly target that you don't have line of sight with. So you do need to remember that. But this is a very useful ability, especially when you need to get to someone who is just out of range. You still need line of sight, sort of. So a blocked space, for instance, would prevent you from using this. But if you've got a bunch of characters in front of your targets, they're not a big deal. So, excellent tactic. Very well worth including, really, in any deck when you're in a game. Alternatively, Snakebite is a character that is specifically for Major Lunah, and before she performs an attack. So she cannot use this with suppressive fire. But before she performs attack, you add an orange and a success to the roll. Add an additional success if the target is dazzled or immobilized or is in a state that reduces their speed. If you run a control-heavy team or you've made use of Major Lunah's suppressive fire, this is a wonderful, wonderful card. The possibility of rolling an orange along with the two possible successes, automatics, is really nice. It's a good way to knock someone out of the contention of that round, especially with higher defense characters such as, say, I don't know, Maximus. So, but the reason you would use this, well, it's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. You are using this for offensive purposes. It's not very ambiguous that way. You could also, now obviously you would want to use this with called shots, but you could also look at it this way. You could use it to add a little punch to Contender. Not that I ever recommend Contender, but if it's what you got to do, it's what you got to do. So you get 2 oranges, you get an automatic success, not bad. If they have one of the appropriate states on them, 2 automatic successes, and that turns Contender from the last-ditch move to something that's actually pretty scary. So that's definitely worth keeping in mind. I like it primarily because I do tend to run teams that will inflict dazzled and immobilized, and if I've got Major Lunah on there, I'm usually reducing their speed. Major Lunah is actually a really nice part of any team. I don't know if I've ever centered around her, but she fits in nicely with most teams I've made, and she's been in it. So usually she is taking care of high priority targets, not necessarily in that I want her to send them to the infirmary, although that's always a good thing. So much as when I'm dealing with characters like Musashi or Regata, I want to reduce their movements. I want to limit them. If I can hit Maximus with this turns one of the slowest, the slowest character in the game into he barely moves at that point. For him, it's actually about as bad as immobilized, just because he has to wait for it to come off completely, rather than immobilized being on him, then flipping over, it's not going anymore. He's in theory free. So characters she pairs up well, with anyone who can help protect her, obviously. Characters who can offer her buffs or clearing negative states off of her. So a character like Lakshmi, for instance, giving her focus to use either to clear off a state such as Dazzled, or giving her just that extra yellow, that's really good. Hannibal. How does Hannibal not get along with Major Lunah? They're fantastic together. I think they synergize very well, provided you keep Major Lunah in good positioning. I mean, she's a great, solid character. I don't think I've really come across another character that I like to use in quite the same way. And she just offers this great, interesting mix of damage and control. If you were to have a team member such as Musashi or Gata that gives her extra energy, she could do 2 potent attacks in a round. She could do 3 suppressive fires and really keep the other team pinned down. Very important, I think. Or give you 3 successes, chances at it. She could move and do any number of things. It just gives her great options. So I think she takes the buffs reasonably well. It's great. You will want to watch out if you have her, or if you're dealing with her. You will want to look at states such as Dazzled or Smoke. Smoke will block line of sight, and it's an occupied space, but it actually is, it's there, can't see through it, sorry, it actually just blocks it altogether. Dazzled, Gata, again, one of my favorites, provides a great way of controlling Major Lunah in that regard. So you've got things like that. Focus is not a bad thing, not focus. Stunned is not bad to get on her, just because at the very least you want to get rid of that extra, that automatic success she has from the get-go. So it's given also, if you can immobilize her, great thing to do for most characters anyways. But once you get close up to her, she has a hard time fighting you off, and that is worth keeping in mind as well. There have been games where I've just sent Musashi right after her, just to keep her locked down and busy, and hopefully taken out because of her low hit points. So, but nope, there you go. There's Major Lunah. If you like this video and you liked our other Aristeia 99 videos, well, click like, subscribe, and you'll be notified when new ones come up. Actually, just hit the notification button while you're at it. We stream games on Saturdays on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/shamelessmayhem. We also have more videos here on the channel. Next week, we're going to be concluding our core sets Aristeia 99 with 8-ball, and I'm looking forward to that. Till next time, happy gaming.